Welcome, everybody, to another Horror Corner. My name is JPOOL, and welcome back, my co-host. Would you like to introduce yourself again?
It's LC here. How are you?
Hello, LC. So we actually had another horror cast that we did record. Unfortunately, it didn't go through. There were some audio issues, mainly on my end. But we have a new movie that we are doing this week, and I'm actually also streaming this on. There you go. I had to switch. I just realized something. I had to switch the screen. So, anyway, we are doing really not a horror movie, but it does have somewhat of horror elements in it. It has to do with demons and hunting them, and K-pop. Yes, everyone, we are talking about yeah, we are talking the most popular movie currently in the world, not just in the United States, in the world. So, I asked Elsie if she would watch it. She hasn't seen it yet, and you were busy all week, and you got a chance to watch it.
Anything for the pod is the rule. Yeah, I'm glad
Yes.
I'm glad you said two things though. I'm glad you said not really a horror movie because I've been wondering, and then I'm actually really intrigued that you said it's the most popular movie right now because I had no idea. Of course, it pops up constantly when I load into Netflix, and I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but I wasn't aware.
Oh yeah, right now it is currently the number 2 most watched movie on Netflix of all time, and by the end of the week it will be the number 1 because all it needed was 20 million more views, and it's been doing 25 to 26 million views. Let's see, a week since like it came out like 2 months ago, or nearly 2 months ago, and it just keeps going up, up, up. Like it's literally with the song, it's insane, and it's an Oscar contention right now. It is going to be nominated.
No way.
Yep, it's going to be nominated for Oscars, probably Golden Globes. I think it would be kind of like apropos if it won a Golden Globe for Golden. that would be epic to get a Golden Globe and they're holding Golden.
You are a super fan, I can tell. You're already throwing out the references, and I'll start by saying thank you for keeping me cool, Jay. Thank you for keeping me cool.
Would you like to tell the listeners and the viewers why I'm keeping you cool?
Well, I am not a K-pop enthusiast. I'm not up to speed, and I had seen this movie pop up. I had avoided it. Definitely, my daughter, who's very much cooler than I am, she's seen it. She loves it. But I wasn't going to watch this one. I was going to pass it right by. No idea whatsoever that it was getting applauded like it was, and I actually really enjoyed it. I'm excited to talk about it. It's definitely something I wouldn't typically watch. So thank you for bringing me into the current pop world and keeping me relevant.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. Now, this movie, K-pop Demon Hunters, is a collaboration between Sony Pictures Animation and Netflix. Right now, Sony is really kicking themselves because they sold all the rights to Netflix and Republic Records. They're making only like $20 million on this. We'll get into this a little later about that.
Wow.
Yeah, but this movie was directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Applehands. This is by the same production company that brought you Into the Spider-Verse, or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, if you've ever seen that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if you look at the animation, it feels like that type of animation, and that there's a reason for that, because Sony worked on this. The film stars Arden Cho, Mei Hong, Ji Young Yu, An Hyun Sop, Daniel Dae Kim, Ken Jeong, Lee Byung Hoon. It's just it's an incredible cast in general. Awesome voice actors. the singing voices for the fictional band Huntrix are EJ. Let's see. Was it Ray Ami and I'm trying to do these off of memory. What was the other one? The one that does. I'll get it. I'll get it eventually. But in general,
You're gonna get it before I will.
yeah. I just remember how to pronounce half these names. Let's see. Audrey Nunya. That's her name. Audrey Nunya.
Okay.
They really did an incredible job in here. If you actually see them in interviews, you can kind of their voices kind of match pretty well with the voice actors. So for some people that didn't know that there were two different voices in the movie, it really helps when the voice actors sound like the singers and the singers that sound like the voice actors. This film really was a runaway success in my opinion. It was done on $100 million budget, and Sony basically didn't have a lot of faith in this film. They greenlit it, they made it, but when it came to distributing it, they decided to hand it off to Netflix. And that is probably going to be one of the greatest failures they have to look back at. And they're going to have to if they're doing any sequels to this film, they're going to have to rewrite some new contracts, because they lost out on millions, maybe even billions coming up, who knows. So I want to get your thoughts on this film. I'll give you some of my thoughts. So when you first watched this, what did you think? When I first told you about it, what were you thinking, like the title in general?
Well, I had seen it before. I'd actually stumbled into my daughter's room at one point and saw her watching it, and she's a huge Blackpink fan, and I know, as I was explaining to you before, I know I will be going to a Blackpink concert at some point in the not too near distant future. The music, the music's great. It's playing in my house for a while. But I'm not big into animation typically. I'll be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to this one. Well, power through, get it done. But I did enjoy it. The animation's great, and I'm glad that you mentioned the Into the Spider-Verse, because now I'm drawing that correlation. It's really well done. I was expecting, what came to mind, and I'm probably gonna get the name wrong, but there's an old anime movie that was done about vampire hunting, and I think it's actually streaming somewhere right now. It might be on the obscure Shudder channel that I pay for, but I was picturing that classic anime style of animation, and it's definitely a lot more fun to watch than that. The characters have a lot more dimension to them in the way that they're drawn, and the music was good, and it's a good storyline. So went into it super reluctant, if I can be honest. I was kind of dreading watching it, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, speaking of vampires, a lot of people are describing, especially the intro to this, the introduction of the film, sort of the prologue, to sort of being like a kid's version of Sinners. If you've seen Sinners.
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
Let me think about that.
Yes, especially the kind of like the origins of the Demon Hunters, and the way they set it up through the generations, and then all of a sudden you go like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. This is like Sinners, right? And Sinners was an incredible movie. In fact, I think eventually we'll do a review on Sinners, but it is, in my opinion, revitalized horror movies, at least for this, like, at least this year, because there really hasn't been any big like box office hit horror movies for a while, and Sinners really like turned it around and gave us like not just an incredible like a horror movie, but also the music in it was awesome. I love the music.
Fantastic. Yeah, and actually, some terrific performances by really respected blues classic musicians in there too, which was kind of a nice surprise and delight.
Oh yeah, with both movies, we get to learn a lot about the cultures and the
Hmm.
music behind it and why the music is so important. Here in K-pop Demon Hunters, we get to see, sort of like almost like these women, sort of like shamans, almost. Like they
Yeah.
start off as like these warriors with a voice that is able to, seal these demons. And for people who haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, you're probably one of the very few people that haven't seen it. But the ones who have seen it,
Especially now.
yeah, especially now. I mean, it's been like 2 months. Hopefully you've seen it.
Mhm.
Um,
I think I was the last one. I was the
yeah.
last person who hadn't seen it.
You'd be surprised how many people haven't seen it. I know some people that are going to go to the sing along that still hasn't seen it, and they were holding off. Which I don't know why they're going to the sing along, because people are going to be singing the whole movie with lyrics on the screen. But I love the music in here. It was really like, and it connects with the narrative too, because there's a lot of, there are right ways and wrong ways to put music in a film. But in this case, the music itself, not only is the lyrics are incredible, the beat is really catchy, very, like, it's an earworm. You can't get out of your head once you hear some of these songs. But it guides the story along. It tells something about the characters, about who they are and everything. And that's what you really want to do in a musical. You don't want to just like break out in song out of nowhere and like have no real reason why you're breaking out in song. I'm doing the dishes. Okay, I'm starting to sing. Okay, why? But in here, it's like, yeah, we have a reason we're singing, and our voices actually have a reason to actually, we're trying to protect the world. From people getting their souls sucked. And, for being a kids movie, this is, and I wouldn't say there's no blood or guts or anything else like that, but considering these people die, they don't tell you they come back. There's no coming back from this, apparently. They just disappear when your soul gets sucked.
Yeah, I have to say, with the music, that it's so often with movies that, especially something as current as doing a K-pop themed movie, I really was expecting that the music was going to be trite. Not a lot of substance to it, something that they quickly put together to get, kids riled up and ready to watch the movie, but not a lot of substance. But the songs were good, and you probably already know this, so I should just ask instead of make assumptions or pose what's going on. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of these songs are on some chart somewhere, or if this entire movie doesn't spawn a lot of additional fandom where
3 songs are in the top 10 Hot 100 Billboard charts. The top 10. And last
wow.
week, Golden went number 1. The first time since Destiny's Child, a girl group, has ever hit number 1.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, now I'm fully out of the loop. I'm gonna just resign my cool card.
No, that's okay. No, not everybody pays attention to the Billboard Top 100. And but when you have, like, this week, Golden did drop down to number 2, but expected to go back to number 1 at this coming week. But currently, like, Soda Pop is at number 10. Number 4 is Your Idol, and Golden should be coming back to number 1 this week. It's insane. People haven't seen that in like nearly 30 years.
That's terrific. Yeah, and like you said, it tells the story, brings the story along, but it's good music. So if you're fans of any K-pop song or any band, you're gonna enjoy that. The movie was fun too. It's new. It's not new, right? We've talked about it's been out for 2 months. It's new for some of us. I guess this is probably the part where we should say, if we're going to talk more deeply, these are the spoilers. So this is where you pause and watch the movie and come back if you don't want all the spoilers. But I had fun watching this movie because they took the time to add fun little moments throughout. I was laughing through a lot of this movie. The tiger was my favorite.
Oh, Derpy the tiger.
Tiger and the bird.
Yeah, yeah. The producers of called him Derpy the tiger and Sussy the bird.
Oh my gosh, that was a riot. That probably is going to have some origin story spinoff or something in the future, because who couldn't watch that all day? And then, little moments too when the Idol Awards were happening and the announcer makes the comment about every snowflake is different, but one's better. One's usually better than the rest. I was cracking up. There were a lot of good jokes. And we were talking about it before the call, too. Um, already some of these fun moments of this movie, I think, are becoming, kind of mainstream moments. The couch, 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 couch moment is now something that I'm speaking about with my daughter and some of my friends. So I feel like people are going to enjoy this movie as well because it is so lighthearted and fun at the same time that it's got a great storyline, great music, and hey, humans.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And speaking of the jokes, this is like sometimes you get a joke, 5 minutes later you get a joke, maybe 5 minutes later you get a joke. The jokes kept coming from the beginning of the movie, the gags and everything. And what I like about this film is it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it allows itself to also make fun of itself by creating the animation that okay, so sometimes you want to have either serious animation or goofy animation. In this sense, they are mixing the two, and we get like there's a scene where they're eating 10,000 carbs, which you would never see any K-pop girl group ever do because their managers would not allow them to do that. But you see all these funny animations of Rumi sniffy the kimbap, or all of a sudden Zoe turns into like a chibi type of like version of herself while she's eating those shrimp chips. And then of course Rumi, the next scene you see Rumi like engulfing that kimbap down her throat like a duck. It's like it's just goofy little animations. There's a scene where they're like wanting to fight the Saja boys, and they're trying to plan it out, and they're like, yeah, and just their faces just shift into these like horrifying looking like what animations, but it's still funny because you don't expect it. You expect them to be very serious, keep with the same animation, and I love how they don't take themselves too seriously and they have fun with it.
I feel like being someone who is terrifically into anime, there's probably a name for every single one of those sort of subgenres of style of animation, but I definitely recognize those from other areas, and that was really cool that they brought those in throughout the whole end of the movie as well. When the credits were rolling, it was a completely different type of animation, portraying the characters. You're a bigger animation fan than I am. You probably know the types of anime that they're using.
It's basically chibi, like making them look like young,
Okay.
like young people.
Baby, yeah.
Baby. No, yeah, baby. Like it's called chibi, CHIBI. But yeah, it's. I just love the animation in here. It was actually for some people, and I've talked to some of my critic friends when they were watching it the first time. There are points because of the speed that they have the animation at for the characters. At points, they look like stop motion animation.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. There's a more defined, and that when you brought up again that Into the Spider-Verse, that's where I recognized it. The characters have more of a dimension to them.
Oh yeah, they really do. And we really didn't really talk about the story. I know we're in the spoiler territory here, but
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring up the big plot point of this movie, which actually shocked a lot of people because they really like presented early on in the movie, like with the second song Golden, they introduce it. The main character Rumi, voiced by Arden Cho, she is a half demon, because apparently her mother and her father were a thing, and this is like a no for any hunter to be with a demon, and she was the result, and she was born with these markings they call patterns, these sort of like purplish markings that represent that you are a demon. And I guess her aunt, well, her sort of aunt, the one who took her on when no one else would take her because her mother had died. We don't really know what happens, but there's a theory. I'll say a little later what the theory is. That her, Celine, the one who takes care of her and then created the group Huntrix, basically told her, you gotta hide yourself. You gotta until your markings are gone, until we figure out how to get your markings to go away. You can't show anybody your markings. You gotta, anytime your markings show up at a different part of your body, you gotta cover that up. You gotta keep it concealed, and you can't be yourself. You have to be your perfect self, not your true self. And I think
you're saying. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go on.
I was gonna say, now that you're saying this, and I'm listening to the detail in real time. It's bringing back another animation movie that was quite popular not all that long ago with the kiddos, where it had the hide your true self, maybe conceal, don't feel.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm wondering, there was a lot of interpretation of Frozen when it came out about what that did for, kids, for everybody who watched it. Adults,
I think adults really have gotten into that too.
Right. Well, it captures something. I read a whole article by some psychologists that analyzed the fact that it was really something that people were drawn to because it happens about that age group where you start going into, elementary school. And that's pretty much what people are told at that young age. You have to hide who you are. You have to start putting forth these manners and behaving in a certain way. And it's more regimented. You're no longer that free spirit of yourself. I'm wondering if when they made this movie, that didn't cross their mind at what a success Frozen was with audiences, and perhaps bringing some of that into the screenwriting.
Oh yeah, well I think most definitely. I do know that is a big sort of a Asian mantra in the culture, not just in Korean, but in Chinese, in Japanese, especially in Japanese. It's like hide your feelings, don't show weakness, and try to show the best of yourself, but hide everything else under the surface. Don't let people see, if you're struggling or anything else to that effect. And, it's worked for some time, but I think in this day and age, a lot of people, with the availability of media and everything, they're starting to realize that we need to really open up. Otherwise, you'd be surprised how many people, how many like Asians are actually really depressed, but they can't really show it.
Oh.
Because that's the culture. That's what they've been told, And I do like the whole thing with the comparison with Frozen. Conceal, don't feel, don't let it show. And here, basically the same thing. Rumi was told her whole life, can't tell anybody who you really are or what you really are, even to the people that should back her up the most and love her the most as a family. And she decided to hide from them because she was so sure that they would turn on her. And
it's all these closeted badass women, I tell you.
Oh yeah. And I think that happens with a lot of us in general, and just as human beings. It's like we let our shame really control us, and we feel that sometimes our background is like we're no good. We feel like imposter syndrome. I don't know if you've ever had imposter syndrome before. You're like, I don't feel like I'm any good. I don't feel like if somebody gives me an award, like I don't deserve that.
Mhm, mhm.
But in Rumi's case, like she was worried also not only to like lose her friends, but they might turn on her and try to kill her because
Right.
they were
Her friends that, were pretty much the only family that she had as well.
yeah, and we barely see Celine in there. We see Celine in some flashbacks, basically, and until the very end of the movie. And so these girls are her family, um, Zoe and Mira, and we'll also get into their characters too because they don't get a lot of time to shine in the movie, but they are so important to the movie and to like the character development of Rumi as well. So I would like to go over like Mira, which is like she's the problem child. She's the she's the one that is um doesn't live by the rules and like the rebel without a cause type of like pink haired, tall Korean girl that goes to the Met Gala in a sleeping bag because she can.
I feel like her character is familiar to me. I was trying to place that character comes up a lot, but it always seems to take that sort of sidebar space, the supporting actor whenever that character is present. But it's a very familiar character type. Um, Even all the way down to the presentation of the character. You mentioned her being tall. She has a deeper voice. Um, the one that it has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, maybe, and is probably not the person that you wanna scrap with or give your opinions to if they're in conflict with hers. Um, it's a very familiar character type, though, so I actually really responded well to that particular character in the movie.
Oh yeah, definitely, and she has a lot of underlying issues herself. She has things that she doesn't want to talk about, but because she wants to be the tough one, the rebel, she's not going to bring any of those issues up because she feels that she'll look weak.
Yeah.
And all these insecurities that she has, and she gets called out by Rumi on them because they start arguing. And that actually hit hard. And it's like, ooh, like you're saying that to your best friend, but like I know that you snapped at her, but like that when she said that to Mira, you could see Mira just like step back for a second, like, huh? Like no one's ever talked to me like that before, and being somebody like Mira, trying to always be the tough one, the strong one, the one that everybody looks at and just like, yeah, I actually fear you. For her to actually be
Right.
afraid herself in some manner, yeah, that's an interesting outlook to see as somebody that looks like they have it all together. And
Right.
that whole like metaphor of like a duck in a pond. They look so calm on the surface of the pond, but guess what's happening below the water? Their little feet are just doing this like a mile, a minute.
Right.
And that's what I think a lot of us have to look at. I mean, I've watched a lot of videos of this therapists react to this movie
Oh,
and to each
interesting.
of the characters. And Mira is an interesting case study as well, and in a sense of like, well, all of them are. But when you look at it as more of somebody that's trying to be strong, but really they're screaming on the inside. We can't always judge somebody on the surface until we truly walk in their shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that overarching theme of the entire movie. Um, she's very fierce, but she's very quiet, and then she hates abs.
Oh yes.
I just hate
No,
abs.
she loves abs. She loves abs. She just doesn't like the way
She loves abs.
she doesn't like the way she reacts to abs. That's the thing. Popcorn
Yeah,
just flies out of her
exactly.
eyes.
Mhm.
It's just like unnaturally popcorn just appears. Now we're going to go on to like Zoe. Zoe is she's the rapper of the group. She's the lyricist. She's like what Mira is like the rebel, the dancer, choreographer. Zoe is the one that is, she's so bubbly and sweet, but when she gets on, to do a rap battle or anything else like that, she's she's in your face, and she writes a lot of the lyrics for their band Huntrix. So, I forgot to say that Mira was played by Mei Hong. So Zoe is done by Ji Young Yu, and if you actually see the actresses in like on interviews, they kind of look like their characters. It's actually kind of cute.
They really,
they really do.
Are there other movies that people would recognize them from that are more mainstream?
I think Arden Cho probably would be the plays Rumi would or voices Rumi would probably be more recognizable than Mei Hong or Ji Young Yu. But Ji Young Yu, like she's as bubbly as Zoe. Like she's just has this cute outlook and everything, and they're all beautiful women in general. But it's like Ji Young Yu just like is Zoe. So is Rei Ami, who does the actual singing voice for Zoe.
Wow.
And I like how that. Remember when they're in the doctor's office, and the doctor's basically looking at her and saying, she's eager to please people. Have you ever like ran into people like that before, or even been someone yourself who is like eager to please people, even if it is detrimental to yourself?
We've all met people like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been like, I can admit I've been like that before. I've wanted to please people when I know that maybe I should back off a little bit because it actually is, more toxic for me than anything to keep doing this and this and this for this somebody, and I get no like thank yous, or I get no like I keep helping somebody and they just keep falling down that hole over and over and over again. But I want to please them for some weird reason because I've been called I'm the nice guy. But
yeah, there are worse things to be called.
Well, sometimes but sometimes you have to like let them have to learn on their own.
Right.
And for Zoe's she always wants to be the person to try to figure out the best solution in the most excitable way possible, like giving them the special voice tonic to Rumi to fix her voice because she has no idea that patterns are creeping up on Rumi's vocal cords, causing her to miss high notes, which is like I think an A5 in Golden,
right?
Which is pretty high. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like Zoe. Zoe's very bubbly. I can see a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people. They're either a Zoe, Mira, or Rumi, and you can tell already by their personality probably who they would pick, as their idol stan or whatever.
Have to think about that. That's going to be the new game, right?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it's no longer Sex in the City. Now it's which Huntrix character are you?
Oh yeah, and then we have one of the demons. So all the other demons in this boy group called the Saja Boys, they're sent by basically Jinu, the main demon in here of the Saja Boys. He decides to put together a group of, I guess, his closest demon friends or whatever into a boy group, and convinces Guima, the main bad, that eats all the souls. Yeah, that eats all the souls. Yeah, he's not the devil. He's not Satan. He's like some other like Korean demon or something like that.
Force.
But yeah,
right.
Force that sucks souls and feasts on them. So An Hyun Sop, who plays Jinu, for people that have seen K-dramas, he's actually really popular into K-dramas. He was in this K-drama that's available on Netflix right now, called Business Proposal. And the song that's sung when Rumi first sees Jinu, She's like in her hoodie and trying to hide, and then Genu just appears, and he looks up at her, and just that poof, her hoodie comes off, her hair flies out, and everything. And that song that's playing, that's Anhyun Soap's actual singing voice from Business Proposal. So they actually played a song from that K drama that he was in, which is hilarious. I loved it.
Little Easter egg.
Little
for
Easter egg
fans.
for anybody that loves K dramas or just that
Mhm.
show in general.
Yeah.
But no, he's an interesting character because, spoilers, he's a bad guy.
Mhm.
I mean, he's not super bad, but what he did was he lied. He lied about his origin story. He gave a few crumbs of truth and kind of
Right.
bypassed what he actually did. And what he did was he made a deal for himself to be, saved from the streets like 400 years ago in Korea, and he left his little sister and his mother behind the palace walls, and it really haunted him. And that's already that he made a deal with Guima, his markings started showing up and eventually overtook him, and he became a full-blown demon. And this
Yeah.
it's a really interesting thing about shame in this whole movie. We have shame for a lot of the characters, but especially for like Rumi and Genu, they have
Mhm.
shame for different reasons. His shame is he knows he betrayed his family, and
Yeah.
we got Rumi's shame is she believes that she's a mistake.
Mhm. I thought he was such a complex character, and you don't see that happening ever in any movie where usually the story it's one of those things that I think most screenwriters would shy away from because it it's such a deviation from the storyline, but I think it worked really well. I was looking at him, hearing his origin story, and following this demon with a heart of gold scenario, and I was in. And then when you actually learn that he's lying and he actually betrayed his family, it wasn't that he sold his soul to help his family. He actually sold his soul just to help himself. That's that's a level of complexity that you just don't see in movies, especially not an animated movie like this. Um, I was then very much in for the ride because that's a level of complexity that typically isn't written for any movie, any uh, physical screen actor movie where you have such a backstory like this. I think it could have gotten away with the storyline just as he originally spoke it, and it still would have worked. It wouldn't have I think detracted from the overall plot, but adding that little additional bit I think really gave the character more of a reason why he would choose to be evil and do these things in the first place and then double down on it later in the movie. He was that character storyline was a train ride from start to finish though. There were a lot of twists and turns there.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And um I think this movie resonates with so many people and so many demographics. I see people from all different, from rappers to people that are not even K-pop fans or not even animated fans. They don't like to watch animation. Um, to parents, to it just goes all over the spectrum. Because I think not just the music, in my opinion, that has attracted people to this movie, and on rewatch and rewatch and rewatch over and over again, is I think the message is also so important in here that it resonates with people so much. Um, like I said a little earlier, a lot of the characters they experience this shame that they push back, and they don't really tell other people about it or express it themselves. And about like Rumi is ashamed. She feels like she's a mistake. She's been told by her aunt Celine to basically cover up, basically conceal, don't feel, don't let it show, literally, um, and to hide who you really are. And that scene that at near the end, it broke my heart. I actually cried.
Aw,
I'm a very emotional person, but I actually cried when,
you're a good guy.
yeah, I when she basically said, um, why couldn't you love me? And she's like, I do, all of me. When you only love a part of a person because you only love that side that you consider the perfect side of that person, but you don't love the whole person. Like the doctor was saying, by treating the problem, we must treat the whole. Um,
Mhm.
that's the same thing with Rumi and with everyone. Is we need to be very accepting of the whole person and not just of a small part
Right.
that we think should be the only thing on the surface. That's why when I try to judge somebody, and I don't like to judge people, when I try to judge somebody, I first talk with them, get to know them first. And then I will come to a judgment of going, you're a good person, you're a bad person, you're a funny person, this and this. But looking them on the surface, you really can't tell. And you don't want to be that person that just goes, I read the cover of a book. I know exactly what the book's
Yeah.
about. Like,
We
um,
have far too much of that these days. We
oh,
don't need any more of that.
and I think that's
Yeah,
really where it resonates.
I really I liked the idea of her character being conceal, hide who you are and fight what you are. And that will make that part of you go away. If you fight it externally, if you push back against this thing that you don't like about yourself, then you can get rid of it and it'll go away forever. Whereas, here's the big spoilers, right? At the end of the movie, what winds up happening, of course, is that she embraces at her worst moment, she embraces who she is, and that's how she defeats it.
Oh,
Um, she stops fighting against herself, and that's how she, truly conquers the entire issue. So I think that that's a really great embedded message that it's there and it's not really none of this stuff too for those few people remaining that haven't seen it. I don't feel like any of these messages were shoved down anyone's throat.
oh no.
Maybe the patterns, maybe that one piece of it is that she has that shame. But these these messages you can kind of keep, you know, um, unraveling them, and I think that's probably why you had mentioned that this movie is actually up for quite a bit of awards, and it's getting a lot of you said Golden Globe and Oscar gossip already. I think it's because there are so many layers to the movie, and these messages are the best movies are, right? The messages are deeply embedded, they're not surface level. You can watch it again and pick up more and more.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And with the lyrics, the last song of the movie, "This is how it sounds like." Uh, what was it? One of like the third verse is, "I broke into a million pieces and I can't go back, but now I'm seeing all the beauty in the broken glass. The scars are part of me, darkness and harmony. My voice without the lies. This is what it sounds like." We don't always want to, like I said, portray our real selves because we're worried how other people will think of us um, and of our quote unquote true self. It can mean anything. It could mean I don't want to show my nerddom. I don't want to show that I collect, behind me like action figures or something like that. I don't show very many people. I tell people that all the time, but there's some people that don't want to do that because they'll be looked down upon or they feel they'll be looked down upon.
Mhm.
Um, the real people that they should really, you know, worry about that, are the people that really truly love them and care for them. Everybody else can just go, by the wind, whatever. Um, but in this case, when you're worried about even your loved ones or your family, thinking bad things about you, and not really showing your true self to them. That could do some real psychological damage, as the years go on, especially when you're told that as a child. And I
Mhm.
just like at the end how she accepts herself. I was also thinking about people that were born with like, like what was it, birthmarks, on their face or in
Oh
parts of
yeah.
their body
Mhm.
that they feel so shameful to showing in public. They can't get rid of it. They have to put a lot of makeup on sometimes just to cover up just as much. Um, for her, for Rumi, they are all everywhere. Their legs or arms or stomach, her face. And she just
Mhm.
accepts herself at the very end, and her family accepts her in the very end. And I thought that was a very powerful moment. Like I know a lot of people that just burst into tears just watching that scene.
Yeah. Well, it was a nice transition to they brought her to her most broken self. Her eye was crazy. she,
Very
she
demony.
was she was looking not great, and her voice was, the character with the most beautiful voice in the movie was barely, gasping out her responses, and then, walking forward and owning who she was, and then kind of taking that power back. Yeah, it's a movie with some really, really fantastic messages for sure. Um, and I think, I don't know, I think it's a younger generation that really um, is fixated with, and is the huge fans around a lot of the big K-pop bands. Um, I would say probably millennial, late Gen X, millennial, and younger. Um, I know that I don't know, maybe it's a phase thing, because I certainly remember back in the 80s there was a huge spike, but it's definitely, a lot of young people that um, are really responding well to this genre of music and film. And what a great message for everybody to be hearing. In a world that can be so ugly right now, what great messaging to be picking up.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's the beauty of this film, and the music is just like the cherry on the top of the sundae. It's just chef's kiss. It's
Yeah.
all around great story, incredible animation, um, really funny comedy, and the music that will not get out of your head. With literally every single song in this movie is in the top 100 on the Billboard's top 100 chart. It's insane. It hasn't been seen at all for a very long time. Even in Kanto didn't have this. Frozen didn't even have this. Frozen didn't even make
Yeah.
number one on the Billboard Top 100. So, or Let It Go. And this movie is just a runaway hit. Speaking of runaway hits, so Sony,
Mhm.
like I said earlier, Sony basically sold the rights to this film to Netflix, and the music to Republic Records. So they worked with Republic Records to make the album, but basically sold the rights to them afterwards, because they're like, it's not gonna do very much. We might as well just like let them have it, which was a big no-no. They're now looking at it
Foolish.
going like, oh shit, because um, it is like dominating the radio. Like these songs are on the radio. They're not just being played like on streaming. They're being literally played on radio
Mhm.
stations. And with Netflix is this weekend on the 23rd and 24th. By the time this goes out, it'll probably be past, or at least on Sunday. Um, which I'm seeing this Sunday. It's the sing-along version they're putting out in theaters of K-pop Demon Hunters, and originally it was 1,000 showings, or 1,000 theaters or whatever, and they upped it to like over 1,700 because theaters kept
Wow.
calling and saying, "We want the movie, please let us." And AMC basically sat on their hands. I don't know why AMC did it. They're like the largest theater chain in the world, and they were like, "Nope, we're not going to do anything about it." But Cinemark, Harkins, Alamo Drafthouse, They picked up the movie, and it's being played all around the United States, some in Britain and some over in other countries. But currently, they're selling out. Literally,
Wow.
the seats. When I went to go get my seat, there was only a handful of seats left, and with that, so many
Phenomenal.
showings. Yeah, so many
Mhm.
showings. We're going to be showing all day. It's insane. It's like I've never seen anything like this before. And I've been to sing-alongs. I've been to the Greatest Showman sing-along. That was really fun.
So
Everybody.
this is like this is Swifty level of getting people to turn out for the movie theaters.
Oh yeah, it's like a real K-pop like
Mhm.
concert. I mean, actual K-pop groups are singing these songs at their concerts. DJs in the United States and in Europe and all around the world are playing remixes of these songs at raves. It's insane. It's like it's just gone global. It's a cultural phenomenon, and Netflix is going to reap all the benefit currently for at least the first one, and they're already in talks right now with Sony to make 2 more sequels, a possible live action movie,
Oh
and
wow.
a Broadway musical.
Oh my goodness. This
So
thing's blowing up.
so if it wins a Tony, then the uh, the singing voice for Rumi, EJ, she was a former idol in training, or K-pop idol in training, who helped co-write a handful of the songs. Uh, she might get an EGOT, which is
Wow.
let's see, Emmy, Golden Globe, Oscar, and a Tony, if it wins all the awards. So it's huge right now. It's like for a streaming film like this, and for
Mhm.
upcoming to be like the most watched film ever on Netflix, and for Sony basically to just toss it to Netflix, going, it's not going to do much. We made it. We're just going to give it to you, and you take the brunt financially to produce the film. They made a huge mistake, but it's hard to make a gamble like this. You never know,
Yeah.
especially with a subject.
This is a brave new world when you think about it, because if we go back just, not all that long ago, maybe 5, 10 years ago, we were all wondering, gosh, are theaters going away? Because, now everything's coming out to streaming. And then the idea that you had to be a really big movie in order to get into the theaters, or you just go straight to streaming, which is, today's version, or was today's version of straight to video. All of this stuff is just being turned completely on its head with movies coming out and streaming, and then making it to theater, live concerts, then being shown as a movie theater production. It's a really interesting space that we're living in right now. There really isn't any rules anymore, and this one, if it is um, successful in those other arenas that you're speaking of, if it winds up pulling out some really big awards, if it winds up becoming an award-winning musical, that's just 100% unheard of, right? This is the new frontier. So I think it's really great for people who are creating the next generation of movies to know that you have opportunity, getting yourself out there in any way. There's really no limit. You can get yourself on some social media platform and wind up growing into a major production. um, it's a noisy world, and it's nice that people have a lot more opportunity to have their products seen by mass audiences and be embraced.
Oh yeah, and especially with something like this to be embraced by like I said, so many demographics all across the board, and to be sort of like something that I really enjoy is how many people have come in unison over this film. Like, you rarely see this in this type of media or medium in general, that you have so many different types of people come together and say, we enjoy the music, we love the movie, and we're willing to sit next to a stranger and sing as
So
loud
I
as
have a
we can
question
sing.
for you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Maybe this was all part of your grand design, but my question is, but is it horror? Right? And my question is, our horror community, the people that are huge for, the people that are turning out for the conventions and are, getting first tickets to every single new movie that comes out, what would their opinion be of this? Would they say it's absolutely not horror? No way. And how do they respond to it? So I'm really curious for, horror movie enthusiasts. Um, what is your review, honestly, when you put it in that genre and even outside of it? So I'm wondering, was this part of your grand plan to have me watch this and give a little bit of a viewpoint from that perspective? I'm really curious if other people feel the same way that I did. I don't think I'd classify it as horror, but I did really enjoy it, and I honestly didn't think I was going to. So, what are your thoughts as far as how the typical, horror buff would respond to this movie?
Oh yeah. Well, originally I was just gonna do a review of this on my own, on
Mhm.
my other movie review channel, but I was like, it has the name Demon in it, or Demon Hunter in it,
Mhm.
and demons usually, in a sense, we look at different types of demons. We look at like Wishmaster, like the Jinn in there, who's basically the
Mhm.
devil. And taking people's souls and uh, switching up their wishes and everything. In here we have a demon named Grima who takes people's souls and doesn't just like tiptoe around it. These people are dead. Like they're
Mhm.
not coming back. At the end of the movie, it doesn't say like these people came back to life after Grima died. Like no, they're still gone. They're still gone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like that whole like cart full of people in that train car, they're gone.
Right.
It's like I know they were like, oh man, they're gone, and I would be like, oh my god, they're all dead. they're,
Happy endings for some, not for others.
yeah, I mean, this is not a bloody movie. This is a very PG kid friendly movie that involves demons. I could say in that sense, it does have uh, an area of like kiddie horror in a sense, like very light horror.
Mhm.
And I said at the beginning, this is like Sinners for kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially with the cultural significance and everything, and how the music plays in so a lot with it, and the history. And I think that the reason I brought you on here is because you like what you were saying. I wanted to get a perspective of somebody that we originally started out with horror, talking about horror films, and you being such a horror buff yourself, and see what you would think about a genre that you probably wouldn't get into yourself unless somebody asked you to.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was great. I really enjoyed it, and it actually makes me want to explore those kind of crossover genres more. I actually, I don't know if you saw me fiddling with my phone. I was multitasking, but I did find the name of that other movie. It's called Vampire Hunter D. Are you
Oh,
familiar with this movie?
I love that film.
I have not seen this. I've bypassed it plenty of times because it's an animated film and it's not really my shtick. But now I kind of want to go and check that out. That one's rated mature. It's
It is very mature.
designated
It is
specific.
very
Yeah.
mature. It is not a
Mhm.
kids anime,
At
but
all.
it is
Hmm.
a it is a classic amongst anime horror fans. Um,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of actually Castlevania. If you ever watch Netflix,
Castlevania. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Castlevania was
Hmm.
just that originally also a video game.
Video game.
The anime is it's so good. The animation is incredible. The story is really good, and it's just a really good like if you're up there with horror. I mean, but a lot of people, like I said, a lot of
Hmm.
people aren't up for animation, but I would recommend that. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I can tell you that it's good, really good.
Yeah.
Um, So
Add it to the list.
definitely add that to the list. So do you have any like before we end the review? Do you have like a favorite song from this movie that you just couldn't get out of your head?
You know, honestly, I would have to say, and forgive me because I'm not going to be able to remember the song name off the top of my head, but actually the song that wasn't supposed to be played, it's a little more scrappy. It reminds me a lot of Blackpink, which I do love. Um, you probably know the name off the top of your head, but when they were performing, and this was the bypass song, and then they went to this. It's a battle song.
A
Um,
takedown.
yeah, Takedown.
Yeah,
That's a great song. That's a
yeah.
great tune.
So
Yeah.
fun
How
fact.
about you?
Yeah, well, fun fact about
Mhm.
Takedown is in the movie, during the movie, we get the EJ, Audrey Nunez, and Ray Me version at the very end during the credits. If you stay
That's
to the
right.
credits, that's the Twice version. So 3 members of the girl group Twice, which I think there's like 9 members in that group. There's so many
Mhm.
members in K-pop groups, it's insane. Uh, that you'll see 3 of the members if you wait till like the mid credits of them performing in the studio, and so that's their version of Takedown. For me, it's probably between uh, Golden or This Is How It Sounds Like. Um,
This is how it's good.
uh, Golden currently is my ringtone. You call my phone and it does play that. I paid $1.50 for it. Yes, I paid for the ringtone.
Nice.
I enjoyed that song. I've done my own like cover of it on my guitar. Uh, Coming soon to TikTok. But it's I just love those songs, and Golden has I guess resonated with a lot of people, including the one of the co-writers of it, EJ, who like if she wins an Oscar, I want her to get up on stage and just accept it. That would be awesome for her, and
Yeah.
sing at the Oscars too. That would be
Belt it out.
that would
You
be
know, you that will happen 100%. That will happen if they're nominated. You know how every Oscar, they bring out those performances throughout to kind of guide along the award ceremony. That 100% will happen. So
oh yeah,
it's
just
just
start
a matter of the nomination.
standing in front of the golden statue Oscar and singing Golden. It's just something that you can't
Mhm.
script. Like you can't even like
Right.
write a script like that and go like, "Oh, this will ever happen." Like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't even predict that." It's just magical. Like it's like this whole like it's a natural like swelling of fandom. It's not forced.
Yeah.
And it's just been
Mhm.
and it's not like just recent. It's like 2 months have gone since it's like gone on since been released on Netflix, and it just keeps literally going up, 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 and still the #1 film on Netflix. Not just like #1 coming up, but like it's been a #1 on Netflix for like 9 weeks.
Yeah.
It's insane, and I'm glad you got to see it. I would like to know what your rating is for this film because my rating is going to be insane. So go on.
Okay, well, I feel like we've done 3 of these now, and I feel like I'm starting to be the person that's a hard rater here. But I'm gonna slice and dice this a little bit. I'm gonna say, as a horror movie, I'm gonna give it a I give it a 2 because to me it's not really a horror movie, but I wouldn't give it a 1 because I respect it more than that. If I take it out of the genre and I just rate it as a movie for its merits and for its watchability and for I think more goes into it because I do think it has such a great storyline. um I would, again, I'm not somebody who typically watches these type of movies. I would give this out of a 10 like probably an 8. I really enjoyed it. um Not as a horror movie, but I really enjoyed it just as a fantastic movie. And highly recommend. I've been talking to some of my buddies about it. So
Oh yeah, most definitely. I would probably in that area of like if you want to do like just the horror and then the regular review, I'd probably give this probably a 3 out of 10,
mhm,
because the horror elements are very soft when it comes
mhm,
to the demons, attacking and the I think the creature designs are really awesome. Like they're based on like Korean folklore demons. The
Hmm.
the the tiger and the
Wrong.
bird are actually they're actually drawings in Korean folklore of their spirits. So they're not demons
Oh
per
wow.
se. So they're
Okay.
actually spirit. That's probably why Derpy and Sussy can pass between realms, is because they're not
Hmm.
demons themselves. So that even if the Han Moon was sealed, they could still travel to our realm because they're not demons. They're like spirits, so like almost like a good fortune. Um, he just happened to be friends with a demon. you know,
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
but in the end, he stayed with Rumi, which I thought was really cute.
Mhm.
If you ever have like a cat that knocks things down, then Derpy is the opposite of
That
that.
was
He likes to put things up.
one of my favorite parts. It just kept happening,
It
and
kept
they
happening.
could have gone on with that for a solid more like 5 minutes, and I would have watched it and completely intrigued.
Oh yeah. As for a movie, I really give this probably, and I had to think about this because I was originally going to give it an 8, and then I had to think more about the message that they're really trying to send here and the underlying messages, and I bumped it up to a 9 out of 10 because
Yeah.
they did such a good job. It's not a perfect film because I think they could have put in maybe even 10 or 15 more minutes of explanation on some of the background of some of the characters, especially like Rumi's past and her parents and everything. And maybe a little more to do with like Mira and Zoe. But all in all, pacing wise, I thought they did a pretty good job for getting it by pretty quickly. In fact, when you look at your watch, you're like, "Wow, it went by that quickly!" Like I could have taken like another
Hmm.
half hour of this stuff. Like, come on, or at least for me.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I'm still talking about it. 2 months later, I'm still talking about this film. I'm like Sunday, I'm going to be seeing the sing along and sing with a bunch of strangers, which I don't mind,
Hmm.
but it's something I enjoy doing. But it's a bunch of people that probably would never go to these type of things are going to it, and we see it at the box office this weekend. They are estimating that this will be the top box office earner this weekend for being a limited
Oh, wow.
release film. A limited release film, meaning not a full release, which they usually do like 23 to 3,000 theaters. This is doing like
Hmm.
1,700, and yet because they're selling out the auditoriums and not just like
Yeah.
half or like a third. They're selling out. They're adding that all
Hmm.
in to be one of the top earners of the box office this weekend, and that's awesome. That's really magical. So, um,
What other movies are coming out this weekend? Is there any other big?
I don't know personally. I haven't looked at the box office, but like I said, that uh, the critics are looking at it and saying that yeah, we're already looking anywhere from 15 to 20 million dollars, and maybe even more than that, depending on if Netflix really wants to share their earnings, what they're making,
Right.
because they usually don't like to do
Right.
that, to show like
Hmm.
this is how many views or whatever that our movie or television show got.
Right.
It's just like it's pretty epic when you think about a streaming movie all of a sudden going to the theater and being as popular it is as long as it has been on their streaming service, and it just
Yeah.
won't slow down. It started at like, what was it, 15, 16, 17 million views at the beginning, and it went to 20 million views the next week, second week, third week 25 million, next week after that 26 million, next week after that 25 million, and just kept a steady for like 8 9 weeks, and right now is top of the charts and top of the music charts. It is a phenomenon. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah. I am loving that. I'm gonna spend some time reflecting on that whole idea of streaming the theater because I love everything about that. I really do. And I have to say, when we were just chattering back and forth about, what movie should we watch, what movie should we review, uh, initially you were like, I don't know, but if you haven't seen this movie, you just got to go see the movie. You were so hyped about it. So I appreciate that absolutely, and I am I have to say, not to deviate away from this particular film, but I'm so excited for the month of September. I'm excited that we're moving into every horror buff's favorite season. But have you
Yes.
seen the lineup? Oh my God, the lineup for theater movies coming out. We've got so many great flicks. I'm going to be in the theater every single weekend. The new Jordan Peele movie is coming out, which I am so excited for that piece of diabolical film that's going to be terrific. We've got another installment of every franchise, the Conjuring franchise coming out. There's just a ton of stuff coming out, so um, we're all going to be very busy, aren't we?
Oh yeah, we gotta definitely do at least like the first Conjuring eventually, and
Oh yeah.
I think the next one, in my opinion, that we should go over, since we did talk about it earlier in the review, is Wishmaster. Whether you have it or you want to do a watch along, it's a favorite of mine in the sense of like some of my like favorite demon devil films to watch, or Jin films.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
oh yeah, and definitely, and thank you for coming on the review for tonight, K-pop Demon Hunters. If you haven't seen the film, you can watch it right now on Netflix. It will probably just pop up on number one immediately as you
Yeah,
turn it on.
you'll see it.
You'll see it. If you have a theater near you that is playing it and has seats still available, which I highly doubt will, but if they do, and you like sing-alongs, definitely check that out. It probably be better to watch it first on Netflix because uh, there's a difference between like people that like to usually go to a movie theater and just enjoy the movie without other people screaming and singing in their back. But
Yeah,
I think it's a worthy film to check out for people that
yeah.
aren't even interested in the genre. So
Mhm. I am willing to bet you are going to see some terrific cosplay going on at that same one.
oh
This is
oh yeah.
definitely a movie that people are going to come decked out for, which is awesome to see in a theater. But I think the last that I really saw was when the Barbie movie came out. Um, so it's going to be exciting to suddenly see a lot of people really, really into it, full spirit into the movie.
If I don't see like Demon Saja Boys at Mad Monster Arizona next year, they've dropped the ball. Like that's,
Oh yeah.
I mean, Demon Saja
Hmm.
Boys. I mean, the claws, the eyes, the whole Reaper,
Hmm.
literally Reaper headdress that they call it.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's just it's perfect for a horror convention.
Absolutely.
Or even in one of the demons or anything else like that, or Demon Roomy. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Right. Right.
thank you for coming on, Elsie, and reviewing the film with me for K-pop Demon Hunters. And remember to enjoy your chimichanga.